Hey everyone, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I am Amanda from Amanda the Biblio, and today we are playing Phase 10 to figure out my TBR. Now, I am starting this all fresh for 2026, which means there are no punishments and no rewards currently. I will not be adding anything in January. At the end of January, I will. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to do them because I wasn't loving how I was doing them last year, so we will see. And as of me filming this, it is officially 2026, so happy new year. But before we get into the phase 10 stuff, we have my series TBR jar. This is a new one. I realized at the end of the year going through my series that I did not include series that I was debating or series that I was rereading, so I added those in, which means that this is a lot more full than before. We're going to go over really quick what I pulled in December, how I did with the reading for them, and then we will roll the dice to see how many series we're pulling for January. So the first one was Maid Sama. This is a manga that follows a young girl in high school, and she works at a maid cafe, and one of the boys at the school, who's like the most popular boy, of course, he discovers her secret and shenanigans. I read volume 3 of the bind-up for this, but there are more, and that means it's going back into the jar. This is one that I did read previously, and I have watched the anime. It's one that I really enjoyed. It didn't necessarily age the best, but it's still fun, it's nostalgic, and I'm excited to continue with the series. Next up, we have Ancient Magus's Bride. This one, I read volume 11, and it's one that I enjoy. I really enjoyed it more in the beginning. I'm still enjoying it. It's not one of my favorite series. It's not one that I'm like super itching to pick up right now, but it is one I'm going to continue. There are 20 volumes out right now, I think, so I'm almost caught up. Then we have Tomes and Tea, and I had to read Alchemy and a Cup of Tea for this, and I did end up reading it, and that is the final book, so this one is not going back into the jar. It's a great series. It's a cozy fantasy about a guard of the queen, something like that. She ends up running away with her girlfriend, and her girlfriend is like the strongest mage to exist at that time. They run away together, and it's just a lot of fun. But I did finish that series, which is amazing. Then we have the Heroes of Olympus, which comes out of like every single month's TBR jars. But I finally ended up getting to this one. I read The Son of Neptune. I had fun. Middle grade isn't my favorite genre. That's why I didn't really get to it. It wasn't one that like I was really needing to get to the next book for. But I am enjoying it. I do want to continue. Back into the TBR jar it goes. And then lastly, we have Vampire Knight. This is another reread manga for me. This one definitely did not age well. This one, even back then, was not good, but even more so now, it's not great. Even though it wasn't good then, I had the best time reading it and watching it, and I never actually finished it. It's kind of been a goal of mine to reread it and finish it. So I read volume 4, I think, of that. Some characters were introduced, and some things got really awkward knowing like what happens in the future, but I'm still having a good nostalgic time with it, though I do not recommend it. So I'm going to take this jar and pour it into this jar, and then we're going to roll the dice and draw our series. So I have my dice here. I'm going to roll it off camera, and then we'll draw. So we ended up getting a 3. So I'm going to draw 3 series. That's a solid way to start the year, but we're going to draw 3 series. The colors don't really mean anything. It's just whatever color I happen to grab to cut up when I needed to cut up more. I don't need to finish it. I just need to read the next book in the series. So first up we have this pink one. So we have Dusk Walker Brides. So this one is a monster romance, which, what a way to start the year. I read the first book back in 2025, and I kind of read it as a joke, but I didn't hate it. I liked it enough that I'm going to continue. But this was one of the series that I had listed as debating, so we'll see. So let's draw our second one. Another pink one, which means it was another one that was either a debating or new edition. So we have Lore Olympus. I need to see where I am on this. So I'm on volume 4 of Lore Olympus, and this is another reread because I did read it on Webtoon and I finished it, but I was rereading it as it was coming out, and I was starting to collect them. Oh, I have volume 4. I have 4 and 5. So I will continue reading Lore Olympus, and yeah, I'm not mad about this because it is a graphic novel, and the art, let me find a page that's not a spoiler. I guess this wouldn't be, but like the art is so gorgeous, and I love the use of colors in this. I love the story. This is a great one. I would say to look up content warnings for that though, because this is a really heavy series, but it's a ton of fun. It's a kind of reimagining of Hades and Persephone, and I just had the best time reading it, and I cannot wait to continue my reread. And now let's grab our third one. Okay, and we have an older one, which is good. So we have Say I Love You, which is another manga, and it's another reread manga, and I was actually thinking of reading a volume of this to end 2025, but I did not end up doing that. So I'm extra excited to get to it in 2026. So those are the 3 series that I need to continue. I will try to fit them into my TBR somewhere, hopefully. I have a ton of other stuff going on, and this is something I need my computer for. So I am doing approximately 7 million yearly challenges. I will be doing a video of the challenges that I am doing, and then if you would like to see my planned hopefuls for any of these challenges that I mentioned, let me know and I can do a separate video about those. But I will be making like an overall goals of 2026 video sometime in January, and if you want to see any of those challenges more in depth, then feel free to let me know either on that video or, like I said, on this one. That said, I do have a lot that are like monthly prompt ones that like the goal is to read it within that month, even though most of them allow you to do the whole year, but I try to read them within the month. So I'm going to go over those really quick, let you know what books I plan on reading for January's prompts, and then we'll get into phase 10. I will say the reading challenge that I am personally hosting, Pokemanda, I'll have the announcement linked down below if you'd like to check it out for January's prompts. That I will talk about at the end, because I have not fully planned out the books that I want to read for that just yet, because it will kind of depend on what books I pick for phase 10. So that will be at the end of the video. I will say that I did film my New Year's-a-thon and my phase out your TBR, phase 12 TBRs. Those will be going up in the next few days, hopefully. But this has to go out first because I wanted this to be my first video of the year. So things are a little backwards in my posting because I did not get to editing those. It's fine. So the first challenge that I'm going to talk about is Biblio Lifestyle, and the prompt is a comfort read that you've been saving for the right moment. For this one, I'm going to read Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. This is the next book that I need to read in that series. It's one that I'm really looking forward to, and I wanted to wait until Christmas to read this, and then I just forgot to plan it in my December TBR. It's fine. It happens. We'll read it in January. So next up we have the buzzword challenges, and there's the title and the cover challenge. The title challenge for January is Before and After. So for this I will be reading the next volume in the Insomniacs After School, though I do want to say that I do plan on finishing that series in January. That's my goal. But for the buzzword specifically, I'm reading volume 2. And the cover prompt is a cover featuring an internal body part. And for this, I will be catching up on the Ernest series by reading Everyone in This Bank is a Thief. It has a little blood on it, and that was the best I could find to fit this prompt. Next up, we have the motif reading challenge. And for that, it is to read around the clock, and that just has to have a clock on the cover, and The Last of August has a clock, so I'm reading that. The Last of August is the second book in the Sherlock Holmes series. This is inspired by Sherlock Holmes, and it follows a relative of Sherlock and a relative of Watson, and they end up teaming up together to solve mysteries. That's really all I remember. I read book 1 forever ago, and I am finally getting to book 2, hopefully. Next up we have Read Your Bookshelf, and the prompt for this is a title that includes an article. So for this one, I am reading The Last of August. Then we have TBR-a-thon, and I am doing the map of stories. My goal is to read every prompt. For January, it is Old Growth Forest, and that is focusing on historical fiction, but the prompts for that are historical setting, 1+ person on the cover, and booktuber recommendations, so Last of August should fit for that, because I remember I was reading this series because it was recommended. And the last monthly one that I'm going to be going over right now is TBR Knockout. The theme is New Year, and the first prompt is read a book you meant to read in 2025, and for that one I am counting Everyone in This Bank is a Thief because I really wanted to keep up with that series when it came out, but alas. And the other prompt is to read the first book in a series, and for that I'll be rereading Throne of Glass. This is a group read with Donna and Alex, and I will have their channels linked down below in the announcements for this read-along, so you can join if you want. I remember not loving where I left off in this series, so I ended up DNFing it. So we'll see how I feel this year. Now, like I said, Pokemanda will be mentioned at the end. Again, hopefully I have enough room. A quick little overview of how I play phase 10, I play the entire phase. The cards that I discard are bonuses, and the cards that are part of the phase are my required reads. The way I did it last year is that if I completed the bonus prompts, then I got rewards. If I didn't complete the phase, then I got a punishment. I don't know if I'll do it that way this year. We will have to see. But either way, the discards are bonuses and the phase prompts are required. Now, I can double up a book between a discard prompt and a phase prompt, but I cannot do like 2 prompts in one phase unless I have that reward. If you have any recommendations for prompt ideas or rewards and punishments, feel free to leave them down below. I'm always looking for more, despite the fact that this is what we're working with for my current prompts. I tried to fit them in here. I was very ambitious thinking that they were all going to fit in there. They do not. This is a mix between activity prompts and reading prompts. I put every single prompt from every single challenge that I am doing, ish. There's a couple that I didn't put in there, like the Storygraph Read Around the World challenge. I didn't put that in there just because last year when I had that in my prompt list, I was really dreading whenever it came up, so I didn't want to put that in this year, even though I do plan on trying to do that. This is where we're drawing the prompts from. I tried to mix it up the best I could. We'll see how well it's mixed. That said, I did already shuffle this. The phase that we are on is 2 sets of 3. We're starting over at the beginning, so let's get the 10 cards, get them up on the board, and go from there. Alrighty, so this is what we're working with. Not a great start, because for every wild that I get, I roll the d6 and I add that many prompts. Not a great start. Okay, but those will be done at the end. For now, we have 2 3s, so I'd be able to take a wild and use it, and then we have singles of another number, which I could use the 2 wilds, so technically I have my phase, but we're going to draw the first card and see what we're working with. So I got a 5, which does help with the phase, but we do have our phase. So let me rearrange again. Alright, so here's our phase. I need to discard a card from down here because this is our hand, and I'm just gonna start at the end, and we have a green 6. So that's our first discard, and we need to draw from our bag. So our first prompt is a 52 book club mini challenge. Now, 52 book club, about every month I think, does a mini challenge, so I don't know if they've announced January's yet, so let me go take a look. So I'm not seeing anything about this just yet. So once they do announce it, if they are doing it, then I'll count that. If not, then I'll just probably count a wild to replace it. We have a blue 2. And since I can't use it, it's a discard. So let's draw again. We have Grumpy Sunshine trope from the 52 book club. So for this one, I'm actually going to count Lore Olympus, volume 4. Next up, we have a 12, which is not helpful. So we have a queer historical romance. Oh, and I didn't say, this is from the Storygraph genre challenge. Okay, so I did look at my TBR for 2026 so far, like all the books that I want to read in 2026. And I had one book that fit, at least that fit into the genres. And that is Teach the Torches to Burn, which is a Romeo and Juliet remix. This is part of the Remix Classics, which I do hope to get to for the Phase Out Your Series-a-thon. These do not need to be read in order from what I know, at least. I'm hoping that they don't, because I've been reading them out of order. This is book 7 in that series, so hopefully I will get to that one for this. Next up, we have a Red 4, which is not helpful. So far, none of these have been able to be thrown back in the bag. If it's one that I can redo, then I will put it back in the bag. So we have a small book from Phase Out the Easy Board. This is the Phase Out Your Series-a-thon Easy Board. So let me see what book I had planned for that, because I did plan these out. I read 6, which is another discard. A title starts with L from Beat the Backlist. The only L book that I have on my January TBR is Lore Olympus. So for this one, I'm going to read Lore of the Tides, which is the final book in the duology, the Lore of the Wild duology, and I believe that this book was chosen for my 12 friend challenge. I honestly don't remember which books I chose because I had everybody just send a bunch of recommendations, and then I chose from there. Our next card is an 11, which is discarded. Released in September of any year, and this is from the Read with Allison challenge. Alright, so finally found one. And for this, I will be reading Howl's Moving Castle. I'm looking forward to it. I have only seen the movie. I am really excited to read the book, even though I've heard that it's very different, but I still think it's going to be a great time. Next up, We have a 12. Are we ever gonna finish this phase? Acronyms for Beat the Backlist. Alright, so for this one, I'm gonna go with Obsidio. It said that it could include acronyms either in the title or a lot in the story, and this definitely does. And I won't get into really anything, but it's a sci-fi that takes place on a ship, and there's an AI that's named Aiden, if I remember correctly, and it stands for stuff. Either way, acronyms are obviously very common in that, so it works. Alright, next up we have a 7. So, play a game with the kiddos. So I finally got an activity prompt, which is awesome. And this will be going back in there. So just sometime during the month, I have to play a game with the kiddos, which I end up doing anyway, so it's fine. A lot of the activity prompts are things that I already do. They're just kind of easy ways to get a prompt complete. Some of them are harder to do and things that I would like to be doing every day. But anyway, next up we have another 11. This is from Romanceopoly, and it is the Compass Wing. And for that is a romance from a genre you don't typically read. So for this one, I will be going with A Soul to Heal, because I don't really read monster romances. But here we are. Next up is another 11. An author related to another author. And this is from the 52 Book Club. So this is just 2 authors that are somehow related to each other. There's 2 prompts that go with this. Alright, so for this one, I'm going to read Fire and Ice, because this is written by Aaron Hunter, and Aaron Hunter is a collective, I guess, of a few different authors, and one of those authors is Tui T. Sutherland, so I'm going to be reading one of their books at some other point in the year, but for now, for the first bit of this kind of double prompt, I will be reading Fire and Ice. Alright, the next card is another 7. So for this we have the last 10 years from the hardest reading challenge you've ever done. Now for this I have 2015, 2017, 2020, 2021, and 2026 left. Alright, so for this one I'm going to go with Sisters of the Snake, because I need to get this read in January, so now would be the perfect time to fit it in. And this came out in 2021, so it works perfect. Next up is another 12, released in June of any year, also from the Read with Allison challenge. Alright, so for this one, I'm going to go with Insomniacs After School Volume 2, because that did come out in June of 2023 in the US, so it counts. We have a 1, Let the Games Begin, from Beat the Backlist. Let me look up what that even means. So, about or featuring gaming, a specific game, or a competition. Alright, I'm going to read Throne of Glass for this, because this does follow a character that has to take part in a competition to try to win. Not a great description. Next up, we have a 7, based on recent reads recommendation from Storygraph Onboarding. Alright, so I don't know anything about this. I feel like it's going to be a bit questionable, but I'm going to go with A Girl and Her Guard Dog, Volume 1. Isaku never asked to be the daughter of a Yakuza boss, but when her parents died in a car accident when she was 5, her gangster grandfather took her in and raised her as part of the clan. We'll see how this goes. Alright, next up, we have another one. So we have small press or self-published from the R Fantasy Bingo. So I'm going to go with Dragons and Dumplings. This is only 88 pages, so it should be fine. It's a prequel to the Fallhaven Castle. I think I got it on a free Kindle day, or Stucker Kindle day. And it's published by Dralgon Press. It's a small publishing imprint focusing on paranormal and fantasy titles. So it counts. Next up, we have a 10. I am almost out of my little paper clips, so I will take down all of those. This game is really not being nice today. So Disability Rep 26 and 26. So I did plan these books out as well. I don't know where this book is currently, but I'm going to be reading Unbroken, which is a short story collection that I got a long time ago and just never ended up picking up. So I'm going to be reading that, I guess. Next up, we have another 11. I knew this was going to come up today. So this is from the Shadow Booker Monster Challenge. I added this mostly as a joke because, like I said, I don't really read monster romance, but this prompt is to read a book that has a monster with 2 schlongs. Alright, I don't think that anybody has recommended anything in there, so this one I am going to be asking for recommendations from a friend. That's the thing that's happening this month, and I knew it was going to come up, so I'm going to ask a friend for some recommendations, and I'll pick one of those. I will put on the screen if I get one in time. But next up, we have another 10. Lizard. This is from the Braincell Reading Challenge, which was created by Charlotte and EJ, who are two really good friends of mine. I'll have their social media linked down below so you can check them out because they're both great. But they have a joint Discord, and they came up with a bunch of prompts that related back to them, and they're just fantastic, and I love them. So for Lizard, it is to read a book with dragons. So for this one, I'm going to read Baby Dragon Bakery, which is the second book in the Baby Dragon series. It's a cute little cozy fantasy series. I enjoyed the first book enough. It wasn't necessarily my favorite. I did give it 3 stars, but I am looking forward to continuing. But next up, we have a 9. Now I know that this seems like a lot, and it is a lot. This is a lot, but these are all bonuses, so I don't have to read every single one of these books. So we have another prompt from the Braincell, and it is rat. For this, it is to read a book with a rat on the cover in the story, or a book about cooking. Alright, for this one, I'm going to read She Loves to Cook, She Loves to Eat, Volume 1, because one of them really enjoys cooking. So I feel like that's going to be my best, it's going to be my safest bet for this prompt. Next up, we have another 9, and I have 1 paperclip left. Own Voices 26 and 26. So for this one, I did choose Sisters of the Snake. So I'm going to, for the purposes of phase 10, switch it out because I did choose that for another prompt. And I'm going to read Spin the Dawn. I don't know what this is about. It's about fashion, and I think this will count for a fantasy bingo challenge. So hopefully that doesn't come up. We're at 11. And I'm out of my little paper clips. So buzzword title. I already said in the beginning what book that was. Hopefully I haven't used it already. Okay, so Insomniacs After School. I'll just read another volume if I did mention that. I'm losing track of everything. This is going terribly. Let me clear this out so we can keep going. So we have a 10. Honestly, I don't know how to pronounce that. So it's that, and I don't even honestly know what it is. So it's a plot device in which a seemingly unsolvable problem is abruptly solved by an unexpected and unlikely event. Imagine the protagonist is being chased by an antagonist. Just when all hope seems lost, the antagonist suddenly struck and killed by lightning. I don't think that's one that I'm really going to be able to plan for. So for this one, I'm not really going to plan a book for it. We'll see what happens in the books that I'm reading, and I will decide at the end of the month. Alright, so at this point, I'm at 22 prompts for my discards. That is outrageous, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Alright, I'm calling it quits on the discards. I have 22 of them already. We don't need any more. I'm going to go through and just draw until I have 3 more of these, if that makes sense, to discard these. And that would put me at 25, because I'll count these ones. And then we'll do the required prompts, because that is too many books. Especially because they're all coming up as books. So the first one, 4 cards later, we have a 5. Finally. Put that up there, and we discard this. LGBTQIA plus rep 26 and 26. So for that one, I chose Go Luck Yourself, which was on my January TBR, so beautiful. And then we have a 3, which was the next card. So now we're actually getting somewhere. So set in 5 different locations. This is for phase out your series-a-thon hard. So for that one, I'll be reading A Clash of Steel, which is another book in the remixed series, the same as the Teach the Torches to Burn. So I'll be reading another book in that series, which is going to be great. And then another 5, really? So I get them 3 in a row, but before that, nothing. So our last bonus prompt is Lights, Camera, Action from Beat the Backlist. So a book to screen or about movies or TV shows. So for this one, I will be counting Frostbite. I don't know if this one honestly was adapted, but Vampire Academy was, so we're gonna count it. And I have to read that anyway for a different challenge. So now that our discards are done, I'm going to take these down. So again, all of the books that are mentioned up to this point are bonus. I would like to get to them, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. But now we have to go through these, and we're going to start with the number cards, and then we'll do the wilds. So let's just start at the beginning. First up, we have a book that costs you nothing from the 52 book club. And again, these prompts can double up with the discard prompts. I just can't double up within. For this one, I will count Insomniacs After School Volume 2 because I'm going to borrow it from the library, so that'll be free. Next up, we have the Red 3. For this, it is Queer Joy from Rocky's Rainbow Readathon. Okay, so for this one, I will go with Go Luck Yourself because I know that this is a romance and I think it's going to at least end up being a joy. Storygraph has it listed as emotional, funny, and lighthearted, so I'm hoping that means it'll count. And our last three, Sky on the cover for Phase Out, Easy Ward. So for this one, I'm going to count Out of the Woods, because that's what I have written down. This is a romance that I'm interested in. I find that I really enjoy this author's work, so I'm interested in reading that one. Alrighty, now we have the fives. Picked by chance for the horror bingo. This I will do off screen, and I will put on the screen what I ended up getting, because I have to set it all up, and I'm not doing that right now. Another one from the Monster Romance Challenge from Shadow Booker, and it's a Minotaur. That's another one I'm gonna have to do some research on, because I don't think I have any. I don't have any monster romances. I was hoping these weren't gonna come up often. Anyway, next, 26 Letters from 26 and 26. So for that one, I am reading Everyone in this Bank is a Thief, and that's exactly 26 letters if I counted properly the 16 times I did. And next we have a red 5. So we have Provokes Strong Emotion, and that's from the 52 Book Club. So for that one, I will be reading Eclipse. When I read New Moon, it definitely provoked strong emotions, and they weren't great ones. So we're gonna read this, and it's probably gonna definitely make me angry. So this will be perfect for that. Alright, I'm gonna take these down, and then we can get into the wilds. Alrighty, so we have wild number 1. I'm gonna roll the dice and see how many cards we're adding. Ooh, it was so nice. We had a 1. So that card is, of course, a 3. So the prompt we got was Metapod, which is a hardcover. So I'm going to read Spin the Dawn, because this is obviously a hardcover. I was going to take them down, but I'll just leave them up there. The second wild, we roll and see what we get. We got a 4, which is not ideal, but we'll go with it. So first up is a 10. The next book in a series you need to continue, from the Read with Allison challenge. For this one, I'm going to go with Frostbite, because this is a series I started forever ago. Like, in my teens, I started this series, and I never finished it. And now I'm gonna finally continue the series with Frostbite. I only ever read the first book, and then I reread it, and then I reread it again, and now we're finally gonna continue. The next one is a 5 from Braincell. And that's just to buddy read a book. So for this actual challenge, I do want to count a book that I'm going to read with Charlotte. We haven't decided on the book yet. Before the Phase 10 prompt, we are going to read Throne of Glass, because that's a book I'm buddy reading. So number 3 is 2 that was upside down. So we have the first book in a fantasy series from the Storygraph Genre Challenge. So for this one, I'm going to count Howl's Moving Castle. Fits perfect. And number 4 is a 7. So we have a standalone fantasy novel. So for this one, I'm going to read What Fury Brings. This one I have out from the library, so I need to make sure to get it read quickly before it returns. And our last wild, we're going to roll and see. Alright, so we got 2. So the first card is okay. Alrighty. The second card is an 11. The nonfiction challenge from the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. So for this one, I'm going to read It's All a Game, which is the history of board games from Monopoly to the settlers of Catan. I don't remember where I heard about this, but I'm interested in it. It sounded like one that would be really interesting to kick off the year, so that's one we're going to go with. So we roll again to see how many to add for that wild. Okay. This game truly hates me. We have a 12, a solid background from the Phase After series Easy. Okay, so for this one, I will be reading Mixed Signals, but to read that, I also have to read In the Weeds. There's 2 books added, I guess. Hopefully we can fit In the Weeds into a different prompt, because that'd be nice. Next up, we have a 4. So within 60 days of release. So this would be for January, and I will be reading Through Gates of Garnet and Gold, because I'll be reading that later today, and that comes out this month. We have 1, the Romanceopoly Study Session book. So these are, I think, book club books, if I'm not mistaken. So I will put up whatever January's book is when I figure it out. Okay, moving on. Move game. From the 800s of the Dewey Decimal System, and this is for the 52 Book Club. I don't know what the 800s of the Dewey Decimal System are, so let's figure it out. The 800s are poetry, plays, essays, and fiction. Most libraries shelve their fiction in a separate area, but keep their poetry and plays in the 800s. Okay, so I think this one I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on, so I'll put on the screen whichever one I choose. And number 6 for that is Paint Nails. Perfect. So that will go back in there because I can do that multiple times throughout the month. We go again. We roll this. We have 4. First up, we have that. So Instagram scrolls. So for this, I need to get on Instagram and just scroll through, and the first book that I find that I have an interest in reading is the one I'm going to read. And I'm going to go back in there because I can do that multiple times. So that one I will put up on the screen. So we get a skip, which is beautiful. The skips I can use later on to just completely skip a prompt that I just don't feel like doing. Okay. I cannot make this up. I seriously can't. This video is 17 years long. Oh wait, that was 4. That's fine. Alright. Let me clear the board. Alright, let's roll. Got a 3. So first up is a 6. So animals are better for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. So for this, I have exotic pets and wild animals left. Alright, this is another one that I'm gonna have to do some research on because I honestly have no idea. So next up is this. 3. So it includes a character list from the 52 book club. Alright, I'm going to use warriors for this because it does have a character list. It lists all the different clans and the characters' roles in it. So we're counting that. And the last one for this is another 3. Instagram scroll again. Okay, so I have to scroll and find 2 separate books, which actually I have to do 2 polls for the phase out your TBR. So what I might do for the 2 Instagram scrolls is I'll scroll Instagram, find 3 or 4 books, and put them up in a poll for people to choose from. Now let's roll again and hope for a 1. Okay, I'm at like 21 books already. So we got a 4. Though I will say the good thing about getting all these wilds is that I can switch out prompts for other books that don't fit the prompts with the wilds. So in theory, I could just read the entire Insomniacs After School series and count those for a bunch of prompts if I needed to. I Reject Your Reality from Beat the Backlist. So for that, it's a speculative fiction book. So I have 4 speculative fiction books on my entire TBR, none of which are on my 2026 TBR. So another 4. So from a series, at least 8 books long from the 52 book club. So for this, I will continue Lore Olympus Volume 4. So we have a 1. Starts or ends in 26. So for that one, I'll be reading Damon Deception. This is the 2nd book in the Damon series, so I'll be reading that. So we have 1. And we have Books Cranny from the Braincell. I believe this is a punny title, or a book with puns. So yeah, a punny title or a character that makes a lot of puns. So I might count the kill clause because the clause in that is, I think, meant to be kind of punny because it takes place during Christmas, but I think I'll count that one because the title is meant to be a pun. And our final card, hopefully. Okay, our final card and our final prompt. Become the Avatar. Okay, so I have not read any books for this yet. Alright, so there are a couple volumes of Insomniacs After School that show Earth, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna count that. So now going through the Pokemanda prompts. First up we have Bulbasaur, which is to read a book with mostly green on the cover. For that I will be reading Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. For Ivysaur, it's to read a summer book. I feel like one of the 2, either In the Weeds or Mixed Signals, will be summary, but even if it's not, I would count it as a summer book because I read a lot of romance during the summer. Or so I try. Then we have the final book in a series for Venusaur. For that one, I will count Lore of the Tides because that is the 2nd and final book in that duology. Then we have Charmander, which is to read a book that brings you life. So for this one, I'll be reading Say I Love You because that book is just one of my favorite manga, and I'm excited to continue my reread, and that will bring me so much life. For Charmeleon, it's to read a young adult. For that, I'll be reading Obsidio because this is a young adult. For Charizard, it is to read a book that you expected to be one thing, but was something else. Honestly, I don't know which one is going to count for that. That will really depend on my reading. For Squirtle, we have Buddy read a book. I'll be reading Throne of Glass. For Wartortle, it is to read a book that you have been wanting to read for a while. For that, I will be reading Frostbite. For Blastoise, it's to read a heavy book, and I'm going to be reading Lore Olympus. It's not a thick book, but this thing is hefty. For Caterpie, it's the first read of the year. For that, for me, it will be Through Gates of Garnet and Gold. For Metapod, it's to read a hardcover, and if I remember myself correctly, I chose Spin the Dawn. And for Butterfree, it's to read a book that you think will make you cry. So actually, I'm going to switch out Obsidio. Obsidio's going to go for the book that I think will make me cry, and then my young adult will be The Names They Gave Us, because I need to get this read in January as well. And that's it for all of the books that I plan on reading. I know, it's a lot. This video was super long. Like I said, the prompts can be switched out easily with wilds and the skip. Only the prompt cards are required, which ended up being more than I thought. As of right now, and I know that this is not fully up to date with all the books that I chose because I stopped adding them while doing this, but as of right now I have 38 books planned for January, which is a lot. I probably am closer to like 40 or 45 by the time I finally get them all added. It's a lot. I'm not going to get through all of them. I know I'm not. It's fine. We will see what we end up getting through. I'll keep you all updated. I hope to try to do like weekly updates instead of vlogs, because vlogs don't really work for me. I'm going to try to do weekly updates. If I don't do them here, I will do them on my blog, hopefully, because I do hope to bring that back, which I do need to type up all of this to go on there. If you would like a list of all of these books, then you can check that out. I don't know if it'll be up by the time this goes up, but we'll see. I'm hoping to get this up today. Again, we'll see. It is currently 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm gonna go. Make sure to comment down below with anything you plan on reading in the month of January. If you don't want to say anything, then leave me cat emojis for fire and ice to help push me to get this book read. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you'd like to see more, hit the bell icon to be notified when I do post more, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!